good morning to my dear students. I am Aditi Sengupta. We are going to study different properties or different types of discrete time signals. In our previous class, we have already studied that what are discrete time signals, why these signals are important, what are the main work of DSP, what are the limitation, advantage, disadvantage, pros, cons and all of this, what is a DSP system, how discrete signals are inserted within the DSP system and how we get the output. So prior to that, we should know that how we are going to represent a discrete signal, because we are having a discrete signal, and how we are going to represent that this is the signal. In case of normally continuous signal, we give the axis, with respect to that we give the amplitude, the continuous amplitude. Maybe xt is equal to sine omega t. This is representation of a continuous time signal. So in the same way, we can represent discrete time signals also. What are the representation of discrete time signal? There are 4 different representations. The first one is discrete time signal functional representation. What is functional representation? That means we are representing the signal as a function. Function means, maybe as we know, normally we use n at the place of t in case of discrete signal. In case of continuous signal it is xt, in case of discrete signal it is xn. So xn is equal to 1 for n 1, 3. That means if we are having our axis x and axis y, in x axis we are having n, in y axis we are having xn. That means the value of xn is 1 and at x axis value 1 and x axis value 3. The y axis value is 1 for x axis value 1 and x axis value 3. Then 6 for n equals to 0 and 7. That means at n equals to 0, the value of xn is 6, as well as at n equals to 7, the value of xn is 6. 0 elsewhere. That means in any other position, in all other position, the value of xn is 0. That means the curve may look like at 0th position it is 6. Then in 1th position it is 1. 2 position, second position it is 0. Then at the position of 3 it is again 1. Again 4, 5, 6 it is 0. At 7 it is 6. And after that from 7 to infinity it is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 after a particular sampling period. According to this, we can see that the sampling period is almost 1. And also when no sampling period is given, when no capital T is given, sampling time is given, you take it as 1. In your previous class we solved the mathematics in that the capital T is given as 0.2. That's why you are taking the signal at 0.2 spacing. But if it is not given, if anything is not given, by default take it as 1. That means if this type of function is given, here your t is not specified, but you can see only integer value 0, 1, 3, 7, in this way it is given. You take the spacing at 1. That means 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, x-axis value will go in this way. In the same way, here a signal yn is represented like this, 0 for n less than 0. Whenever your n less than 0, all the values are 0. For n 0, 1, dot, 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 102. That means from 0 to 102. In this position, it is 0.6 to the power n. That means at 0th position, 0.6 to the power 0. At 1th position, 0.6 to the power 1. At 12th position, 0.6 to the power 2. In this way it will vary. And 1 for n greater than 102. That means after 102th value, all the values are 1. This type of representation is known as functional representation of a signal. The next representation is termed as graphical representation. In functional representation, we give the function, you have to plot the signal according to that function. But in case of graphical representation, already the plot is itself given. We are already giving the plot. According to that plot, you can say that okay, this value is this. Graphical representation is nothing but representing the signal through graph. This is a graphical representation of a signal where this is your n axis and this is your xn axis. That is, x axis we are having n, at y axis we are having xn. You can look this, we can see the signal, it is varying in this manner. Almost looking like a signal like 0, then a slide downward, then huge upward, then again a slide downward, again 0. Almost like Gaussian, almost. So, in this representation only the graph is given. You have to specify the value looking at the graph. That means if I am asking you, tell me the value at time instant 10. At time instant 10, the value is 0.05. From the graph you can say that. Same at time instant 15, the value is just less than 0.2, a bit less than 0.2. Maybe I take it as 0.155 or 17. 0.17 maybe I take this value. In this way, from graph we have to represent the value. If you look at here, it is also taking signals at distance 1, because from 0 to 5 we are having 5 signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0th value, there is no value in 0th level. From 1th level we are having value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they are taking time instant or time spacing is equal to 1. Okay, so this is termed as graphical representation. Next coming is tabular representation. The third representation technique is termed as tabular representation. What is this tabular representation? In case of tabular representation, we have to create a table where we will give the value of n and the variation of xn with respect to n. That means in table, one single column or one single row is for n and another row is for the corresponding value of xn. Here it is given this dot 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 show that this is not the initial value. Maybe we are having more value in minus axis. It is not compulsory. You can give or you can start from the starting value also. This part is not compulsory. This is just telling you that this is not the starting position. We have many more starting values over here. So look at this tabular representation. This row is just for xn and this row is corresponding values. This row is for n and this row is for the corresponding value of xn with respect to n. Here we can see the value of n varies as -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. At -2 position, the value of xn will be 0.12. When n equals to -1, then my xn equals to 2.01. When n equals to 0, the value of xn is 1.78. Now that means if you plot the graph, x-axis, y-axis, n equals to -2, xn equals to 0.12. n equals to -1, xn is equal to 2.1. n equals to 0, xn is equal to 1.78. n equals to 1, xn is equal to 5.23. So you can plot easily the graph from this tabular representation also. You can plot the signal. The last one or the fourth one is termed as sequence representation. Now what is this sequential representation? This is nothing but we are representing xn in a sequential manner. We are representing xn in a sequential manner. Now this a bit confusing manner. Maybe I am writing xn equals to dot dot dot. This dot 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 is for showing that this is not the starting one. But now just forget this dot dot dot. This is conventional method, that's why I am using this dot dot dot. Maybe starting from 0.12, 2.01, 1.78, 5.23, 0.12. This is the values of xn. Now, how we can understand that at which point of n xn is having these values? Because n is not specified over here. Normally in our mathematical part, mostly we will use sequential representation. Now, how we will understand that? We will understand it by the arrow. We don't have any arrow here. If you don't have any arrow, it means arrow is at the first position. If we don't have any arrow, it means arrow is at the first position. Now what is the work of that arrow? What is shown by that arrow? That arrow is nothing but the position of 0. Where n equals to 0, the arrow shows that position. If here we place arrow, that means this value is for n equals to 0. And as any time is not specified, we have to take one position time spacing. That means it is my n equals to 0 position, then it is my n equals to 1, n equals to 2, n equals to 3, n equals to 4. But if I place an arrow in anywhere, maybe I am placing my arrow here, that means this is the 0th position. N equals to 0 arises here. That means this is n equals to minus 1, this is n equals to minus 2, this is n equals to plus 1, this is n equals to plus 2. At the same way, if I place my arrow here, that means I am having n equals to 0 at this position. That means this is n equals to minus 1, this is n equals to minus 2, this is n equals to minus 3, and this is n equals to minus 4. All is about that arrow, and if no arrow is given, you have to think arrow is in first position. Am I clear? Okay. Next, we are going to the basic signals of our discrete signals or discrete time signal. In your analog signal processing or in your signals and system, you have already studied that we are having different type of signal, different type of basic signal. In case of discrete signal also we are having those basic signal itself. Now we have to know the representation, we have to know the graph of that particular signals, because these are parts of our laboratory also. Most probably next week we will do the laboratory part. So before that we will end these signals, we will complete this signal, so that when we will do the laboratory part, we are clear with the graph of those signals. Okay, so the very first or initial signal that comes is unit impulse signals, or sometimes it is termed as unit sample sequence. It is normally termed as unit impulse signal or unit impulse. No, it is given as delta n. Unit impulse is given as delta n. It is 1 only when n is equals to 0. In any other position, in any other x-axis value, the value of delta n is 0. Delta n is 0 for n not equal to 0. Delta n is 1 for n equals to 0. That means only at 0th position it is having a spike of amplitude 1. In case of analog signal, normally delta n is infinity at n equals to 0, and for any other value it is 0. That is just impulse signal, and this is unit impulse signal. That is our impulse we created. What is impulse? What you understand by impulsive nature? That is sudden, means if anyone have a reaction suddenly, impulsive nature, that he or she is not thinking anything, or deeply she is having a lack of ability in deep thinking, just at that instant he or she responds abruptly. That is termed as impulsive response. Same thing, this impulse response, if you look at it, at a particular position, at a single instant, it gives a spike. That means it gives a reaction at single instant. So that means this is my impulse response. And unit means the amplitude is 1. The term unit says that the amplitude is 1. Delta n is the basic signal of discrete time signal, or this is the basic discrete time signal, because if I shift this signal left or right, or I increase or multiply this signal with any value, any type of signal can be created. So this is the elementary or basic signal of discrete time signal. Please note this. The next signal that is coming, if I have a train of impulse signal, or I have a train of shifted impulse signal. What is the meaning of shifted? It is at 0th position, maybe it is shifted at 1 position, it is shifted at 2 position, it is shifted at 3 position. That means if I have shifted impulse signal and I combined all these shifted impulse signal, it will become a unit step signal. Unit step signal is nothing but a signal which is having unit amplitude, and the value unity is varied for n greater than equals to 0. That means for n greater than equals to 0, un equals to 1. For n less than 0, un equals to 0. For n greater than 0, un equals to 1. For n less than 0, un equals to 0. Okay, so this is nothing but your unit step signal. Unit step signal is nothing but the integration of shifted impulse signals. Next, the next signal that is coming is unit ramp signal, or we can say simply ramp signal, because the amplitude is not 1 here. The amplitude is not 1 here, so we can say it as ramp signal also. So as it is discrete signal, that's why a digital signal we placed it the term unit, because digitization is having highest value 1. Okay, so it is represented as Rn. Note one thing, you can't change these conventional names of any basic signal. Unit impulse should be given as delta n. Unit step should be given as un. Unit ramp should be given as Rn. This is compulsory. So Rn equals to n for n greater than 0. That is whatever be the value of n, that is the value of Rn. N equals to 0, Rn equals to 0. N equals to 1, Rn equals to 1. N equals to 2, Rn equals to 2. In this way it will vary. So it will create a ramp signal. And again it is 0 for n less than 0. It is only valid for the values n greater than 0. For n less than 0, all the values are 0. Okay. Now our next signal that is coming is our exponential signal, a very important signal, exponential signal. Xn equals to AUN. Xn equals to AUN or alpha un. You can say this A is the constant, but depending on this A value it will change, or we can say it as e to the power n. E to the power n. Exponential signal is given as e to the power n or a to the power n un. It is normally a to the power n un. A to the power n un. According to that a value, everything will change. Please note, xn equals to a to the power n un. We are having different signal in case of exponential signal. Exponential signal, in case of that, if a is greater than 1, then it will become exponentially increasing. If a is less than 1, it will become exponentially, actually not less than 1, it should be less than 1 but greater than 0. Not we can say only it is less than 1, it is less than 1 greater than 0. It will give you a exponentially decreasing signals. Okay, in the same way our next signal type is if we have a equals to less or a less than minus 1. A less than minus 1. If a is less than minus 1, in that case we will have a signal that is shown like this. Can you tell me what type of signal it is? Look at this. If I join the values, what is this signal? Inverse damping signal. Inverse damping signal. That means we can say exponentially increasing sinusoidal signal. The next part, if we have minus 1 less than a less than 0, that means a is greater than minus 1 but less than 0. In this way it will give you a damped signal. It will give you a damped signal. This all thing we will verify in our laboratory. We are having the first laboratory is about signals. We have to verify that. That's why I am showing you all the type of signals. Otherwise I will skip this part. So we will verify this in laboratory next week. That's why please go through these signals so that whenever we will do it in lab, you have to means you will get the proper value and you can verify that whether your values are correct or not. Okay, the next signal is our sinusoidal signal. A sinusoidal signal is given as xn a cos omega n plus phi or a cos omega n plus theta, anything. So this xn a cos omega n plus phi, this is a sinusoidal signal, or you can specifically say it is a cosinusoidal signal. And if I use a sin omega n plus phi, then it is a sinusoidal signal where omega is your frequency, a is the amplitude or magnitude you can say, and phi is the phase offset or we can say the phase simply. Now if it is cosine signal, it will start from 90 degree phase shift of the sine signal. If sine signal start from 0, cosine signal should start from either minus pi or from plus pi. So this is the difference between cosinusoidal and sinusoidal signal. Generally both the signal are termed as sinusoidal signal. Just the difference is cosinusoidal signal will start from 90 degree phase shift of the sinusoidal signal. This is a cosinusoidal signal. Look at this, it is starting from here. In this way it is starting. If it is sinusoidal signal, it should have start from here. Start from 0. If cosinusoidal, from 90 degree phase shift. So these are the basic signals you should understand, and for today this is enough. In our next lab we will verify this, and also we will learn the different process or different operation that we will do on signal. Thank you.